When I joined SAPOL, I thought it was a job with honour. Protecting the community, catching the bad guys, putting the scumbags behind bars, making people safe in their homes. But it's not like that. We're tax collectors. This goes to the very top. It goes to headquarters. It's a culture. It comes from the Commissioner and trickles down.
It's the sound we hate, even when we're right. When it comes to court, it's your word against the constabulary, and no guess whose word the court is more likely to believe.
The light was green when I turned the corner, and there's no way that light was red.
These are confidential, top-level police emails, not seen by the public until tonight. They come from inspector ranks, written proof that police have official targets, that cops are obliged to book a minimum number of fellow South Australians, whether they've committed a crime or not. Here's one from a regional service commander.
I now require a report from each team sergeant and officer in charge of each station, how they plan to achieve their weekly benchmarks. I do not want a list of excuses. I require your plans as to how you will achieve this task.
We'd go out to deliberately provoke somebody. We'd go outside a pub or a nightclub, approach somebody, try and stir them up, try and provoke them, and if we got the required reaction, we'd grab them.
SAPOL officers are required to get 380 cannabis expiation notices.
By law, we've got to have reasonable grounds to search somebody.
But police will go through pockets, handbags, where they have no grounds.
This is illegal. These are illegal searches. We're breaking the law.
Drivers are most vulnerable, even when there's no road safety issue involved.
We'd wait at a stop sign, what we call a rolling stop. The car had to move only a couple of inches, just the barest minimum. We'd ping them.
Basically know that means you've got to get out there and bring in the loot for the government.
It's working. Government wants us to speed. It's in the budget. Labor banks on fining us $145 million a year, and fines cost 2 to 3 times more here than in, say, Queensland, even for non-safety issues like not showing a P-plate or the easier gotcha, tow balls that partially obscure a number plate.
This is part of the strategy that's been pushed down by government onto the police department to bring in as much money as they possibly can.
Owen Godfrey is a former Staff Force officer, 16 years in the force, now a road safety campaigner opposed to high fines for trivial offences.
It's easy money, and they can always couch it in terms of, well, it's about road safety, which of course they know is a load of rubbish, and police know is a load of rubbish, and it just seems that everybody's having to live this lie constantly. The road toll and road accidents have rather remained static and plateaued, or in actual fact, in a lot of cases, they have climbed.
You fell behind, you got to rock it up. This is what we called the Wooden Spoon Award. It's a competition. We have teams 1 to 5, and the team with the least amount of arrests and expiations wins the Wooden Spoon Award. Nothing to do with road safety. They cop the fine.
Just touching a white line like this one, a stiff fine. In the case of a rolling stop,
that could mean a loss of licence, a $450 fine, 3 expiation points.
This is incredibly devastating for many people whose job involves them being on the road a lot of the time. People who are salespeople, courier drivers, taxi drivers. If they lose their licence, they can lose their job or lose their business, lose their homes. It sometimes affects their family situation, and a lot of the time it affects their mental health.
A spokesperson for Commissioner Grant Stevens, recently under fire for this taxpayer-funded overseas trip, admitted to Today Tonight that police have a set number of so-called benchmarks they have to meet. Last year, Bill Thomas was in the city driving with his wife. He stopped for a red light at King William Street. It turned green. He went around the corner, and police were behind him.
It's got a siren on. I've got to pull over.
Bill went to court 5 times before being acquitted. Would have been a lot cheaper for you to actually just have paid the fine.
Sure, but there's a principle too. You want to clear your name, and yes, sure, I could have taken the easy way out. and paid $487 and had a driving record.
Bill's case was widely talked about within SAPOL. Last week, Bill was at a surfers club when a stranger approached.
And he said, I'm a retired police officer. And he said, I know what happened, they're after a quota.
In the country, a police officer would know most of the people in the community. If he pulls somebody over and books him, and he knows it's unfair, there are no dulls out there. From being a respected member of the community, a police officer, he's an outcast. There are a lot of decent cops. We've got to make targets, and we want to keep jobs.